Terence Bud Crawford refusing to sign with the PBC, and this could be the worst decision of his career. Before we get into this next video, make sure that you hit my like button, sub to the channel if you're not already a sub to the channel, and don't forget my live streams Monday through Friday, 12:30 Pacific time, 1:30 Mountain time, 2:30 Central, and 3:30 on the East Coast. Hit my like button and let's get to it. So recently, we've been hearing rumors that Terence Bud Crawford is thinking about going up to 154 pounds and facing Jermell Iron Man Charlo, right? Now, we know that Jermell Charlo has a big, huge fight coming up against Brian Castano, the rematch, and that's for all of the titles. That is for undisputed at 154 pounds, right? So it could be Jermell Charlo, it could be Brian Castano. But like I said, we hearing rumors that Terence Bud Crawford is looking to go up to 154 pounds and test his talents at 154. Now, nobody know what Terence Crawford really want to do. But if you look at the landscape, right? Let's go across the whole landscape at 154 pounds because it's smoke all around the room. It's so much smoke, it's burning down the house at 154, right? You got Erickson Lubin. That is a hell of a fight for Terence Crawford. Of course, you got Brian Castano. Hell of a fight for Terence Crawford. You got Jermell Charlo, right? The man that he been talking about. Hell of a fight for Terence Bud Crawford, right? You got Danny Garcia, right? And these are just some of the names at 154, right? All hell of a fighters. Let's go back to 147 pounds. You got your Danish Ugas, right? We know that Ugas and Errol Spence, they about to fight each other sometime in April, hopefully, right? And then Terence Crawford, he could fight the winner between Ugas and Errol Spence, right? You got Keith Thurman. So you got all these fighters. And when you look at the landscape, all these fighters have one thing in common. They all are PBC fighters. All of these fighters are with the PBC. Now, we know that Jaron Boots Ennis is an up-and-coming big name. We know that if you decided to fight Jaron Boots Ennis at 147 pounds, well, that is a big fight. And you don't have to go through the PBC to fight Jaron Boots Ennis because Jaron Boots Ennis is actually promoted by your old promoter, Cameron Duncan. That's a hell of a fight. Big fight. I think that fight will sell big. A lot of fans is talking about that fight. But obviously, you don't want nothing to do with Jaron Boots Ennis. You don't want no smoke with Jaron Boots Ennis. So that's cool. I understand. Boxing is a business. It seems like that you want to go after all of the titles, and Jaron Boots Ennis is still a up-and-coming contender, and he ain't got his first title yet. So I understand it wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense for you to fight Jaron Boots Ennis unless you just wanted to have a big fight in the meanwhile while you waiting on the Keith Thurman or Errol Spence, right? You get you a big bag in between, so that makes a lot of sense, but you don't want to fight Jaron Boots Ennis. We know he's too dangerous, right? He can ruin the whole apple cart. Let's just stop beating around the bush and keep it 100, right? He's just too dangerous. You feel me? So, cool. Jaron Boots Ennis off the table. Then you have a Virgil Ortiz that fights with Golden Boy. Now, we know that Golden Boy is not going to put Virgil Ortiz in the ring with Terence Crawford. They're not going to do no big business with Terence Crawford. Shit, Golden Boy don't do no big business with nobody. So they not finna put they prize fighter Virgil Ortiz when they ain't even got nobody over there on Golden Boy, really. They not finna feed him to Terence Crawford. They just not gonna do that. So they're not gonna do no business with you, Terence Crawford, right? And then we have DAZN. If you look around the landscape of DAZN, they don't really got no welterweights. They got Conor Ben, and when I say DAZN, I mean like Matchroom, right? Eddie Hearn. He got Conor Ben, and he sure ain't finna put Conor Ben in the ring with Terence Crawford. And Conor Ben don't want that smoke. All right, you can't go and fight Josh Taylor. You can't have Josh Taylor move up to 147 pounds no more and fight you, because that shit off the table per the lawsuit that you have on Top Rank. So now you can't do no business with Top Rank. Josh Taylor was a potential big fight for you, but that's off the table. So now when you go back and you look at the landscape, whether you go to 154 pounds or you stay at 147 pounds, if you refusing to do any business with the PBC, and when I say any business, if you refusing to sign a contract with PBC, right? Become a PBC fighter, because y'all are saying, well, PBC is trying to basically blackball Terence Crawford because we refuse to sign with the PBC. And then your coach, Bo Mack, he's been vocal about the PBC, saying fuck PBC, fuck Al Heyman, we ain't fucking with them, right? We've also heard Bernie say, oh nah, he ain't gonna sign with Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Him and Floyd butt heads, and we hear behind the scenes, you know, Floyd cool, but behind the scene when it come to business and all that, Floyd a bitch. Right? This is what your man Bernie said. So I don't see Terence Crawford, he ain't gonna do no business with Floyd neither, because they'll bump heads. Okay, we all know that Floyd Mayweather is a big part of PBC. So, okay, you ain't gonna do no business with Floyd because you've heard things about Floyd behind the scenes and you don't think that'll go too well for you. Okay, cool. The only thing you got left is signing with Al Heyman, the PBC. That's the best move of your career. But it could be the worst move of your career if you don't. Because let's keep it real. We could talk about scenarios. Well, Terence Crawford could go and do his own thing. He could create Bud Crawford Promotions, and you know, he could get investors behind him and do his own thing. Like a Warren Buffett. Okay, yeah, that'll be real smart. If you a real smart businessman, if you know how to maneuver and get all that done to where you can bring fighters over to you, right? You could pay a big bag to Errol Spence. You say, hey, Errol, we gonna do our own thing. You come over here and I'm gonna pay you 15, 20 mil. We gonna get this popping. But who you got around you that got the business sense to do that? So in reality, that's not gonna happen. We know that's not gonna happen. So only thing left for you to do is to sign with PBC. If your thing is, okay, well, I wanna fight all of these big name fighters, right? I want all of the smoke with everybody. If that's what you saying when you was at Top Rank, you wanted to fight all of the big name fighters. You wanted all of the tough fights, but for some reason, because you was on the wrong side of the street, they wasn't doing business with y'all. Y'all wasn't doing business with them, right? So the fights didn't happen. Now you saying that the problem is that PBC don't want to do no business with you. We heard Tim Smith come out and say what he said. Okay, cool. You can solve all of that, because if you become a PBC fighter, they're going to cater to you, Terence Crawford. You're going to be the biggest name on their roster besides Errol Spence and Deontay Wilder. And we don't even know if Deontay Wilder going to fight or retire. Let's just keep it 100. So you'll be the biggest name on their roster, arguably right next to Errol Spence. So of course they going to cater to you. Now, you talking about a Keith Thurman. I see you getting a Keith Thurman fight if you would sign with PBC. You definitely would get an Errol Spence fight if you sign with PBC. If we're going by what you're saying, that you getting blackballed because you don't want to sign with PBC. Now, you got to make this make sense to me, Terence Crawford. Why wouldn't you sign with PBC if you want all the smoke? If you claiming that you want all of the big fighters, if it's 154 pounds or it's 147 pounds, all the big fighters on PBC. You know what I'm saying? So won't you go over there and do business with them people? And you got the world at your hands. You can pick whatever big fights that you want, because now you are a PBC fighter. They have to cater to you. And I don't like how PBC do with some of their young fighters, how they sitting them on the shelf, how they not getting them fights. But Terence Crawford don't got to worry about none of that, because he already has a big name, right? He's not an up and coming fighter that's trying to make his way in the game. He already got a big name. We know that if you have a big name like Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, or Danny Garcia, or whoever it may be on the PBC, they gonna get you the big fights. They gonna get you the title fights that you need, right? Once you already have that name to where you can make them money. And Terence Crawford going to the PBC alone, the story alone is a huge story in boxing. That's gonna make you a whole lot of money alone just from the reports and the stories coming out, right? That's gonna blow you up even bigger than you already are. So Terence Crawford don't have to worry about, oh, well, you know, they gonna sit me on the shelf and they ain't gonna get me the fights. Nah. Once PBC know that they can make money off of you, you can make money off of them, vice versa, with big fights. I don't understand why you don't sign with the PBC. And if you choose to stand on your square and not sign with the PBC, unless you got a hellified backup plan to where you gonna get some big ass investors to do business with you and you gonna put on your own events, man, you making the worst decision of your whole career. You making the worst decision of your whole career, because you talking about a Jermell Charlo or any of these fighters, right? Any of these fighters, like I said, whether they're at 154 pounds at 147, right? In that landscape, all of the big names are with PBC. So if we're going by the theory that you saying that the PBC is blackballing you out and all of that, well, what you think they can do with the rest of their fighters? If they don't want to pay you to fight Errol Spence, do you think they gonna pay you to fight a Jermell Charlo, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, or anybody else? Make it make sense to me. Now, I know a lot of people saying, okay, well, he can move up and he can become Jermell Charlo's mandatory. Hey, when the business of boxing get to talking, they could stop anything they want. Money talk behind the scenes. And if Terence Crawford ain't got no big name, you know what I'm saying, promoter representing him, how he gonna move up and become Jermell Charlo mandatory? Where he gonna fight Jermell Charlo at? What platform he gonna fight him on? You feel what I'm saying? So y'all gotta make this shit make sense to me. He needs to go over there. He needs to see what offers that PBC got on the table for him for, you know, you could do a 3-fight deal. See what offers they got. Get your money, Terence Crawford, because I know y'all watching it. Oh, he just a Terence Crawford hater. Ain't nobody hating on Terence Crawford. I'm trying to get his man advice to do the best thing for his career if he really want all the smoke, and go get your money and go get all the smoke. But see, if you don't sign with the PBC, the only reason I can really think of is because you don't really want all of them tough fights, right? You want to run away from the smoke. The house is burning down, and the only way you can get to your bag of money is you got to run towards the smoke and run right through it. What you gonna do, bud? What you gonna do, bud? All that fuck PBC and we ain't doing no business with them, and that's ignorant, because all your big fights is over at the PBC. So show me that you want the smoke and go and do business with the PBC. You ain't got no business to do with nobody else. You ain't got nowhere else to go. With that being said, smash on my like button, drop a comment in the comment section, and let me know what y'all think about this. There you go, talking that boxing again, and I'm gone.